Hello and welcome to Prep Eve, where we revolutionize how you prepare for IELTS. Thank you so much for such a tremendous response on the guided reading practice series. Today we'll be covering another match the heading type of question, and let's move on to understanding the step-by-step approach to solve this question. So the very first thing that you have to do is you have to read the instructions carefully. Once you have read the instructions, you have to read the title of the passage. Once you read the title of the passage, you will have a better understanding of what you can expect in the passage, what the passage would be about. Then you have to go through all the headings in the list. So you have to read all the headings, and once you have read all the headings, you have to underline the keywords in each and every heading and predict the content of that particular paragraph. What is that paragraph going to talk about if this is the heading? Right? Do not worry if you do not understand the meaning of prediction right now. We'll be solving a match the heading question, and then I'll be showcasing you how you have to predict the content of the paragraph by just looking at the heading. So you read the heading and you start thinking, what can I expect the paragraph to look like? So when you come across that paragraph in the passage, it rings a bell, and then you can match the heading to that particular paragraph. 5 is you have to quickly go through one paragraph at a time. So at a time you just have to read one paragraph. Do not read the entire passage, majorly focusing on the first few and the last few sentences. Now this has to be done only if you are short on time, you do not have sufficient time. Then you read the first few and last few sentences of each paragraph. That way you will be able to figure out the answer or figure out the heading. However, if you have time, I would recommend that you quickly skim through the entire paragraph. The sixth point is that you do not get fixated on one word or sentence. So do not get fixated just on one word or one sentence. The focus here is to understand the meaning of the entire paragraph and then find out the heading. So look for the gist and the main idea of the paragraph. You can ask yourself in your mother tongue, what is this paragraph trying to tell me? What is this paragraph trying to convey? ये paragraph मुझसे क्या कहना चाहता है? My mother tongue is Hindi, so I would say ये क्या है? ये paragraph मुझसे क्या कहना चाहता है? What is this paragraph trying to convey to me? Okay, so do not fixate on just one word. Okay, so this word is in the heading and this word is also in the paragraph, so I'll match it. Please do not do that. You're not in nursery, you're not in kindergarten that you would just match words just because the same word is in the paragraph and also the same word is in the list of heading, so you'll match it. Please do not do that. Understand the entire paragraph. What is this paragraph trying to tell me? And then see which heading fits. Then you have to go back to the list of headings and start eliminating the points that are not suitable along with shortlisting the probable ones. So let's say there are 10 headings. You read the first 3 headings and you're like, this cannot be the answer, ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता, this cannot be the answer to the question. And then you move on to the 4th heading. You might feel, okay, this might be the answer. Okay, this might be the answer to paragraph A. You can shortlist that, and then you move on to the 5th heading. That may or may not be suitable. So depending upon that, you start eliminating the headings that you think cannot be the headings of that particular paragraph and shortlist the probable ones कि ये हो सकती हैं, these could be the headings of that paragraph. So this is what you have to do, and then you have to repeat these points for all the paragraphs. So you go through paragraph A, you then understand the gist or main idea of paragraph A, then you go through the list of headings and start eliminating and shortlisting the probable ones. Same has to be done for paragraph B, C, D, so on and so forth, right? And then there is another thing that's very important here. There will always be more headings than the number of paragraphs or sections, so some headings will not be used. So headings are more than the number of paragraphs. It is to confuse you. They will give you extra headings so that you get confused, and you need to understand that some headings would go unused. Okay, so have a look at the steps again. Now we'll start with solving this question. I'm using the Cambridge book 13 for this, and let's get started with that. So this is how the question looks like. This is section 3, and we first have to read the instructions. So if you guys remember, the very first thing that we have to do is read the instructions. And the instructions here says that there are 9 paragraphs, A to I. Choose the correct heading for each paragraph from the list of headings below. So we have the list of headings here. How many headings are there here? There are 11 headings. And how many paragraphs? There are 9 paragraphs. So 9 paragraphs, 11 headings, which basically means we have 2 extra headings, right? 2 extra headings, and that means that 2 headings from these will not be used for any of the paragraphs. It will go unused. So the next step was to read the title. Let's read the title now. So the title is A Visit to Oymycon, the world's coldest town. Okay, so this particular word, I've never seen it anywhere. I've never heard of this word. So if you haven't seen or heard this word, do not panic. It's completely fine because the title itself tells us what this is. So this is the world's coldest town. Okay, so I'm not even sure about the pronunciation of this word, which is totally fine. You do not need to know the pronunciation of this word because it's just a reading test. You just have to find the right answer and nothing else. So this entire passage is going to be about this particular town, which is the coldest town in the world. So we are clear about that. Then we move on to the list of headings. The third step was to read the headings, and the fourth one was to underline the keywords and predict. So I'm going to do these together. It will happen simultaneously. So let's get started. The very first heading is various sources of supply. So here the keywords are sources of supplies, and various can also be considered a keyword. So here what can we predict? What can we predict the passage to look like? What can we predict the paragraph to look like if it has various sources of supplies as its heading? So in this paragraph, I can predict that they will be talking about different sources, different manners or ways or different methods of supplies. Supplies could be anything. It's pretty ambiguous. So they're talking about different things in this particular paragraph, different sources of supply. The second list of heading, or the second heading in the list, is the effects of going outside. So this paragraph will talk about the positive or negative impacts of going outside the house, outside the building, outside the office. It could be anything. So outdoor, they'll be talking about something outdoor. Then Oymycon. Okay, I'm not going to say this word again because in my head when I'm practicing a reading test and there are words which are unnecessary, I anyway leave them. Okay, you don't have to read it, you just go through it. Past and present. So this paragraph would talk about the past as well as the present of this particular town. How did this town look like? How many people were there? What was the culture? What was the tradition like in this particular town in the past? And what is happening currently? What is the present scenario? Then the fourth one is a contrast in the landscape. So the paragraph which will have this heading would talk about the landscape. Landscape is the nature basically. They'll talk about nature, the surroundings, and they'll talk about some contrast. Contrast basically means opposite. Or it could be like, contrasting. There could be like contrast is basically, contrast of colors would be black and white, so something like that. So contrasting information about the landscape or the nature. The fifth point is, or the fifth heading is, animals that can survive the cold. So this paragraph will obviously talk about animals. So here you can look out for the names of animals. So they would list down the names of animals that can survive the cold. Okay. Then the next one is how this town is affected by its location. So location is the keyword here. They will talk about the location, so they can talk about, the altitude, the longitude, the latitude, something like that. Altitude is basically the height. Longitude and latitudes are those imaginary lines on the globe that you see. So how is the location of this particular town affecting it? Okay, so they'll list down the reasons. Keeping out the cold, how we can prevent ourselves from feeling cold. So keeping out or staying away from the cold or protecting ourselves from the cold, that is what this paragraph will talk about. Not the only challenging time of the year. If this is the heading, then the paragraph will tell that this particular time of the year, which could be summer, winter, or it could be autumn, it could be a month also, let's say October or March, this is not the only challenging time of the year, which basically means we have other challenging times as well throughout the year. Better than its reputation. So in this paragraph, they will talk about something that is better than its reputation. So it is better. I mean, obviously, I can't simplify this particular sentence. So the expectation was such that it will not be good enough, but it is uh, better than the expectations or the reputation. Very few facilities in the building. So this paragraph will talk about the amenities in the building, which are bare minimum. We do not have a lot of amenities, right? More snow than anywhere else in the world. So this paragraph will probably tell you that this town receives the most snow as compared to any other town in the world. Okay, so these are the list of headings. So we have some idea about what each heading um, would have in hold for us. We have predicted what would the paragraphs look like. Now when we start reading the paragraph, we will be in a better position to figure out which heading fits which paragraph. So let's get started. Paragraph A. So again, you have to read one paragraph at a time and then figure out the main idea or the gist. And you have to ask yourself, ये paragraph मुझसे कहना क्या चाहता है, or what is this paragraph trying to convey to me. Let's read the first paragraph. It says, you don't need a sat nav to drive to the town. From this you cross the river. Simply follow the M59 almost all the way before taking a left at this final few kilometers. The journey takes 2 days of hard driving, glistening landscapes, frozen rivers, untouched snow, endless forest and breathtaking beauty. 2 days to penetrate to the heart of Siberia, reach the coldest inhabitable place on earth. The beauty surprised me. Siberia isn't known for its pleasant appearance. It's always billed as a place of hardship. But for hour after hour, the wintry wonderland was bathed in a crisp, clean sunshine, presenting a continuous panorama of conifer trees, wreathed in silence, and snow. So you have to ask yourself, what is this paragraph talking about? Yes, it is kind of confusing. It is a little complicated to understand maybe initially, but if you break it down and go through all the list of headings, at least you will be able to eliminate. So our major goal is not to find the right answer. Our major goal is to eliminate the wrong answer. So do not try to find the right answer, instead eliminate the wrong ones. Okay, eliminate the wrong answers instead of finding the right one. So is this paragraph talking about sources of supplies, different sources of supplies? Yes or no? You just have to tell me yes or no for each of the headings here. So I'm pretty sure it's no. The effects of going outside. Yes, it is talking about driving and 2 days here, 2 days you have to cross this, cross that, blah blah blah. They're talking about how to reach this particular town, but they're not talking about the effects. They're not saying anything positive or negative about going outside. So this is also not the answer. Then, are they talking about the past and present of this town? Uimaikon. No, they're not talking about that. Are they giving you a contrast in the landscape? Are they talking about nature and how it's different and how it's contrasting? So, yes, they're talking about nature, but you're not sure whether there's a contrast, so we'll keep it as the probable answer. Okay, this could be the answer. Then, are they talking about animals? No, they're not talking about animals. How Omicron is affected by its location? They're not talking about that, or maybe they're talking about that, so we can keep it as a probable one, because yes, they're talking about location, but I don't think they're talking about the effect on the town, how the town is getting affected by this. Keeping out the cold, they're not telling you the ways in which you can prevent yourself from the cold. Not the only challenging time, I don't think they're talking about that. Better than its reputation, maybe, maybe not, I'm not too sure. Few facilities in the buildings, they're not talking about any facilities. They're not talking about more snow than anywhere else in the world. And than basically means that they're comparing. There's no comparison here. Here, if you notice, they're not talking about the fact that there is a lot of snow here. Yes, they're talking about frozen rivers, they're talking about snow otherwise, but then never mentioning that it has more snow than anywhere else in the world. So this is not the answer. This is also not the answer. So we are left with 4, 6 and 9. Okay, if you have other options as your answers, it's totally fine, you can write all of them. So it's 4, 6 and 9. So I will write all the probable ones. Sorry, 4, 6 and 9. Okay, I'll write all the probable answers that I think would be the headings of this particular paragraph, and then I move on to the next part. So B says, as we left the flat plain. Okay, as we left the flat plain, the road began to twist and turn, leading us into untouched hills and on towards this particular mountain. Beneath their snow clad peaks, the slopes became steeper and the valleys deeper. Down in a valley, we stopped to look at a hot spring beside the road. It was immediately obvious against the snow, a spot lit in a heavy mist. Trees emerged from strange haze as ghostly silhouettes. So now in this particular paragraph, you have to ask yourself, what is this paragraph trying to tell me? And here, if you notice, they are talking about the transition. So they left the flat plains and then they moved on to the twists and turns of the mountain. So they're talking about the transition of nature, how it moved from flat plains to the mountains, and the valley got deeper and there was snow and all of those things. So we go back and start eliminating again and then shortlist the probable answers. So various sources of supplies, they're not talking about any sources. Effects of going out, again, I don't think. Past, present, no. Any contrast in the landscape, yes, they're talking about nature and I see a contrast here, so this could be the answer. No mention of animals, no mention of how the location is impacting the town, how you can prevent yourself from the cold. Mention of not the only challenging time of the year, there's no mention of that. And then better than its reputation, there's no mention of reputation here again. And facilities and buildings, no mention of that, no mention of snow. So I guess it's pretty clear that the answer should be the fourth one, but if you have doubts, you can write the others as the probable option as well. For now, I will write the fourth one. My bad. I will write the fourth one here. Fourth one, because according to me, they're talking about the contrast here, contrast between the flat plains and the mountains. Okay, so how it transitions from the flat to the mountains. Okay. All right. C. Despite the magical ambience of the Siberian wilderness, its reputation for hardship hit me every time I climbed out of the vehicle. Okay, rings a bell, climbed out of the vehicle. Within less than a minute, the skin all over the face began to feel as if it were burning. If I wasn't wearing my two sets of gloves, I rapidly lost the feeling in my fingertips. I learned very quickly not to draw too deep a breath because the shock of the cold air in my lungs invariably set me off on an extended bout of coughing. Siberia in winter is a world barely fit for human habitation. So it's not fit for human habitation. There are a lot of problems that he faced when he went outside his vehicle. This is a place of such searing cold that it bites through multiple layers of clothing as if they aren't there. So now you have to do the entire activity all over again, read all the headings and start eliminating the ones that you're sure cannot be the answer. So let's start. Various sources of supply, no mention of sources. Effects of going out, I guess it's pretty obvious that he's talking about the negative effects of the cold in Siberia. So this is most definitely the answer, but we will still go through rest of the headings because sometimes you might find something more appropriate. So past present, definitely not the answer. Contrast in the landscape, no. Animals, definitely no. Effect by the location, no. Keeping out the cold, yes, they're talking about the cold, but they're not talking about how you can prevent yourself from the cold. Then not the only challenging time of the year, better than its reputation, building, no mention of snow. So second one is the answer here. If you guys are confused and you feel like the answer could be some other heading, you can write it down and you can also comment in the comment section below and we can discuss it later on. But for now the answer is the second one. It's pretty obvious because here he says that when he climbs out of the vehicle, his face is burning, he cannot feel his fingertips, and it leads to coughing, and it's barely fit for human habitation, and it feels like you have not worn anything even though you're wearing multiple layers. So keep that thing in mind. D is tiny miny paragraph, so let's quickly read this. It's a quite little town, the world's coldest, of about 550 inhabitants, with its own power station, a school, two shops, and a small hospital. It probably originated as a seasonal settlement where reindeer herders spent the summer on the banks of this river. Okay, so here they're talking about the town. The town is the world's coldest. It has this much population, it has a power station, school, two shops, hospitals. It probably originated, so they're talking about the past here, as a seasonal settlement. Okay, so again should ring a bell because they're talking about past in one of the headings also, but we'll still go through all the list. We'll go through the entire list and figure out the answer. So, sources of supply, no. Effects of going out, this is kind of eliminated. I'm sure that's the answer because it's pretty direct. Then, past and present, yes, it's talking about the present, wherein it's talking about the population, the schools, hospital, and power station, and in the past it was a seasonal settlement. So, most probably, this is the answer. It's not talking about any contrast in the nature, it's not talking about animals, it's not talking about how the location is impacting it, how you can prevent yourself from cold. No, 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 no. Few facilities in the building, yes, it is talking about facilities, but it is not talking about facilities in the building. It's talking about what this town has or does not have, right? So keep that thing in mind and do not get confused. Okay, so for me, the answer would be the third one. Again, if you have a different heading in your mind, write it down in the comment section. The temperature when I arrived was minus 45 degrees, not particularly cold, I was informed. A number of factors combined to explain the record low temperatures here. It is far from the ocean. It is far from the ocean. So, this paragraph will explain the reasons why Omiakon records low temperature. Okay, why is the temperature low? They're giving you the reasons here or explaining the reasons. So it's far from the ocean when its moderating effect on air temperature. In addition, the town sits in a valley below the general level of the plateau, which in turn is enclosed on all sides by mountains up to 2000 meter in height. As the cold air sinks, it accumulates in the valley with little wind to disturb it. Average temperature is this much. Lower temperatures have been recorded in Antarctica, but there are no permanent inhabitants there. So, what are they talking about in this paragraph? You have to ask yourself, what is this paragraph trying to tell me? Okay, you have to ask this to yourself and then go back to the list of headings and start eliminating. So you have to ask yourself, oh my bad. You have to ask yourself, is this paragraph talking about various sources of supply? Is it talking about the effects of going out? Is it talking about past, present? Is it talking about a contrast in the landscape? Is it talking about animals? Is it talking about how Oymyakons is affected by its location? I guess this is the answer because it's talking about the latitude. It's surrounded by mountains, it's in a valley, and then it's away from the ocean. So it's telling us how the location of this town is affecting it. But still, we'll go through the rest of the headings as well. Is it talking about how you can protect yourself from the cold? No, not the only challenging time of the year, better than its reputation. There's no mention of reputation here. Facilities, no, and more snow than anywhere else in the world. This might confuse you because they're talking about the temperature and everything, but if you read here, they're not saying that this town receives the most snow. It's not necessary that if it is the coldest, it also receives the most snow. It's different, right? The coldest town does not necessarily receive the most snow. So please keep that thing in mind. And if you read this paragraph E again, you will notice that nowhere they have mentioned about um, more snow than anywhere else in the world. So according to me, the answer would be the sixth one here, because it's talking about how the location is impacting the town. So it's away from the ocean, then sits in a valley, all sides by mountains, so on and so forth. Day-to-day life in this presents certain challenges during the long winters. There are hardly any modern household conveniences, hardly any conveniences. Water is hacked out of the nearby river as great chunks of ice and dragged home on a sledge. The giant ice cubes are stacked outdoors, carried into the house one at a time to melt when needed. The lack of running water, so there's no running water, also means no showers or baths, or flushing toilets. Since this year, the town school has enjoyed the luxury of indoor toilets. However, it's one of the small number of civic buildings one of the basically they're talking about the school. It's one of the small number of civic buildings in the center of the town that are linked to the power station. So should ring a bell. Again, they're talking about the challenges and how there are hardly any modern conveniences. They don't even have running water, showers and baths are rare, and then just one school has flushing toilets. That's it. So let's go through the entire list again and see which one fits well, which heading fits well. So various sources of supplies. I don't think that's the answer. Or maybe that's the answer actually, if you think about it. Let's see. Effects of going out, no. Past, present, no. Contrast, no. Animals, definitely no. This is already taken, no. No. Few facilities in buildings, this could be the answer. And then snow, no. So first or the 10th one. I guess it's most probably the 10th one, but in any case we'll write both as the answers. So either first or the 10th one. So it's talking about challenges during the winters. Then we are left with three more. Oh my god, there are a lot of paragraphs in this question. Okay. The power station provides winter heating in the form of hot water, but many houses lie outside its range and rely on their own wood burning stoves. Fuel is plentiful enough in the surrounding forest, but someone still has to venture out to cut the wood. Everybody who owns good boots, a hat made of animal fur, fur lined mittens. The boots are usually made from reindeer hide, which is light and keeps your feet very warm. The individual hairs are hollow, like a thin tube with air inside. Since air is a poor conductor of heat, the skin makes excellent winter footwear. The soles gives added insulation. Hats come in variety of furs. This. So yes, this paragraph talks about animals like fox, raccoon, mink, sable, but is it actually talking about animals that can survive the cold? That's the question. So have a look at this paragraph again. Ask yourself, what is this paragraph talking about? According to me, it's talking about different ways in which you can protect yourself from the winter. So good boots, hat made out of fur, and then again boots, and then talking about how the skin makes good footwear and it is a poor conductor of heat, and hats are made from this. So we go back and go through the list of headings and see which one fits here. Okay. Various sources of supply. No. Supplies, they're not talking about supplies. Effects of going outside. No. Past, present, nature, animals that can survive the cold. They're talking about animals, but they're not talking about the animals surviving the cold. We are basically using their fur or their skin to protect ourselves. So, this will definitely not be the answers. So, that is what I mean when I say that do not fixate on one word or sentence. So, you'll basically see animals here, and then you will see animals in this paragraph, and you will not think, you will not do anything, and without any thought you would match G to this one, animals, G to the fifth one, which is wrong. Please do not do that. That's not the right answer. We are not talking about animals here. All right, so we go back and we go through the paragraph again. It's talking about the ways in which you can be protected. So it's keeping out the cold. So the seventh one should be the answer for this. Okay, seventh one. Pretty obvious. Go through the entire list. I'm not doing it because of the paucity of time. You can go through the entire list and you would realize that this one makes the most sense. Then we are left with H. Yeah. So two shops keep a decent stock of basic foods in tins and packets, but locals also have to do it yourself options including hunting, trapping, ice fishing, reindeer breeding, horse breeding. Indeed, being self sufficient runs in the blood in Siberia. The diet relies heavily on meat for its protein, a primary source of energy in the prolonged winter. Unsurprisingly, given the weather, everyone eats heartily in Oymyakon. A typical meal I was offered consisted of horse soup, huge piles of horse meatball, all washed down in Cloudberry Courtyard. Okay, so this one is basically talking about the food supplies. So the answer is the first option, various sources of supplies where you can get food. So supplies here refers to food. So we were confused in the beginning, it was ambiguous, but now it's clearer. So obviously if you go through the rest of the headings, which you have to do, I'm not doing it right now, you have to quickly go through it and ask yourself if the paragraph is talking about any of these. If so, mark it as the probable answer, otherwise it's just the first one. So it's pretty straightforward here. And then The last one, spring is the best season here, I'm told. The snow melts, the river flows once more, the forest is full of wildflowers. It's short, so the spring season is short. In the summer, it is uncomfortably hot. Much of the forest becomes boggy, so there are mosquitoes, and it has constant presence. Climate, this town's climate certainly wouldn't suit me, but residents I spoke to said they won't live anywhere else. So what they're trying to tell you is that spring is very short and summer is also uncomfortable. If you think winters are uncomfortable because of all of these reasons, that uh, it's burning if you step out of the vehicle, you cannot feel your fingertips, you start coughing, and all of that happens. You have to wear multiple layers, and then there are hardly any facilities because there's no running water, no showers, no bathes, and all of that. They're also telling you that summers are equally bad because of the mosquitoes, and it's uncomfortably hot. So here, if you go through the entire list again, you'll realize that the answer is, okay, let's do this one together. I hope you've been able to figure out the answer, but if not, let's do it together. It's not sources of supply, effect of going out, past, present, contrast in landscape, animals, location, keeping out the cold, not the only challenging time. Yes, this one, because summers are also challenging here. Better than its reputation, no. Fewer buildings, no, no, no. So let's look at the probable ones. Now, fourth is taken here, so fourth will not be the answer for this one. So we are confused between sixth and ninth. Sixth is also taken. We are very sure that sixth is the answer to this one. So they're giving you reasons why the location affects the town. So sixth will also not be the answer. So the answer is the ninth one. Now this is how you eliminate, right? You have eliminated it further. You have eliminated the probable options. And now the ninth one is better than its reputation. You go through the paragraph again, and when you see, you realize that the reputation was that it always is a place of hardship. Okay, it is not a good place, or it is a place of hardship. But according to the description of the author, he's saying, or the writer is saying, that the landscape is beautiful, the beauty surprised me. Siberia isn't known for its pleasant appearance, but it still surprised him. So basically means that um, it's better than its reputation. What people say, that it's not that good, it was full of hardships, so on and so forth. This means that it's better than its reputation. So the first one is ninth, and the second, so A would be ninth, better than its reputation. B would be fourth one, a contrast in the landscape. I've already told you what are the contrasts here: flat plain, then mountains and valleys. Then this third paragraph, or paragraph C, is uh, going to be matched with the second one, the effects of going out. So the effects of going out are clearly mentioned, which we have already discussed. Then D would be third, because it's talking about the present, and at present, this is the scenario. The first sentence is talking about the present, the second sentence is talking about the past. So it's the present as well as the past of this town. Then E is sixth here is how is the town affected by its location. I've already explained that, because it is located far from the ocean and it's in the valley surrounded by mountains, the temperature is really low. Then F, we are confused between 1 and 10. So let's go back and check out 1 and 10. And also 1 was taken by this, right? Various sources of supply. Yeah, this will be 1. Various sources of supplies. And so if this is 1, yeah, we're very sure this is 1. So this will not be 1, of course. Okay, then this must be 10. What is 10? Very few facilities in the building, so the amenities are very less here, and we can seriously see that, because you have to there are hardly any modern conveniences. This is basically talking about amenities, or basically the question has the word facilities, right? So modern household amenities are not there, the facilities are not there, and that is what they're talking about. So the answer for this one is 10. Then this one would be 7. 7 here stands for keeping out the cold, the way you can protect yourself from cold by wearing the hats and boots made out of the fur of these animals. I've already explained why the answer will not be animals. Heading, yeah. H is the first one. Food supply, they're talking about the different supplies. And the last one is spring is the best season, so it's not the only challenging time. So the answer to the last one is 8. So that's it for today. I hope you have understood how we basically solve match the heading question. Remember that you have to read the list of headings and predict the content of that particular paragraph. Once you do that, it's going to hardly take 2 minutes of your time, and then you have to go through each paragraph, then go through the list of headings and eliminate the options that you think are not suitable and shortlist the probable ones. You have to keep doing the same thing for all the paragraphs, and once you do this, you will be able to narrow down the answers and reach the final heading. Now again, the same thing is repeated with the probable ones. So remember this, and I hope I was able to simplify this type of question. If you have any doubts, any concerns, you can let me know. This was a lengthy question, of course, but if you follow this approach, if you are systematic, you will be in a position to crack this particular kind of question very easily. So thank you so very much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family members, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel.